everybody, my name is Cara on Fire. Today I'll be showing you all the juicy highlights from the Dune Awakening combat livestream. A quick note before we start, the release date for Dune Awakening has moved to June 10th, with the 5-day head start being on June 5th. There was also some mention of an open beta being on the horizon in the month of May, potentially, so that's super exciting that players will be able to test the game before launch day. There are several types of combat in Dune: melee, ranged, and ability combat. We got to see some solo gameplay, group gameplay, and PvP at the end.
Group gameplay. That's a difficult thing. Group play.
The senior game director and the expert designer for Dune went through a bucket load of information, so I will quickly breeze through that for you whilst you watch the solo gameplay example. There is a lot of variety to play around with in the game, as there is a bunch of weaponry mentioned in the lore. In the solo gameplay showcase, we get to see an example of the Kinjal, which is a small knife, the Disruptor M11, which is an SMG, the Karpov 38, which is an automatic rifle type, and the GRDA 44 scattergun, which is your shotgun. You also get shields in Dune. These work as an extra layer of protection powered by a power pack in your inventory. They're not your traditional shields, they are the blue hue you see on the characters. When you shoot ranged weapons with the shield activated, it will turn off momentarily, but turn back on after you've finished firing your rounds. You can stay fully shielded whilst using melee weapons though, as long as your shield isn't broken either by an NPC supercharging a knife into it, or the enemy has put a heck of a lot of darts into your shield, or you've simply run out of power. There are also Suspenser Belts. These are what allows you to hover in Dune. There are lots of different types of belts in the game that let you do different styles of hovering. It's a brief hover and then you land again, so kind of like a slow motion jump almost, but you're in the air for quite a while. Here we get to see a really good example of the 5 mentorship trees. For the Trooper, Swordmaster, Bene Gesserit, Mentat, and Planetologist. In this area you can try out different abilities in the game, you can mix and match them as well. As you can obtain all 5 different mentorships in the game, you are not just plastered to one of them. However, they were saying you won't be able to unlock like all the skills at once in the game. You have a certain amount of points, so you'll need to be careful on what you're choosing. They explained a few abilities of classes here, so I'll let those play out.
Yeah, so we have the Swordmaster. They're of course melee focused. So some of the abilities that they have are deflection, where they can actually run towards an enemy who's firing darts at them and deflect those darts and don't take damage. They have the knee charge, which is very practical when you want to knee kick someone. But again, you can also use it for traversal to get away or get into the action if you want. And then they also have something called the Eye of the Storm, which is a whirlwind that will attack everything. Yes, we do have the Bene Gesserit, and they're all about voice powers and supreme muscle control. So they have abilities like the Bindu Sprint, where they can run at incredible speed, run into combat or run away from combat. They have the Compel, which is where they can command someone to get to them and incapacitate them for a bit until you and actually give you time to damage them before they regain control over their limbs. And they also have the Wading Step, which is a very cool ability where they can move superhumanly fast behind someone and then attack from the back.
Here's some juicy info about Lasguns.
The way that the Lasguns work in lore is that if you fire a Lasgun at a shield, you get an atomic explosion. And fun as that may seem in the short term, we deemed it impractical. So
I like that it's like, we deemed it impractical. So it's like have like nuclear explosions all over the map
we
constantly.
Had it working, but we figured it out that it's probably not for the best, for the greater good of the game.
Probably not, yeah. It would be hilarious maybe for a day or so, but then I think
it was funny.
Players would get kind of tired of it.
Yeah, exactly. So the way we did it is that the Emperor decreed that any Lasgun produced or crafted on Arrakis will have a safety. So basically, if you try to fire a Lasgun at someone who's shielded, the Lasgun just will refuse to fire.
One of the big points the devs covered on the stream was the Spice Prescient mode. Once you've been exposed to a sufficient amount of spice, you'll be able to activate this purple Super Saiyan Spice mode that makes your abilities cool down quicker, do more damage, unlock your third ability slot in the middle, and enable something called capstones from whatever you've selected in your ability trees. After a while in this mode, it will wear off and you'll have to top it back up again. But you will get something called spice tolerance, which means the more you use this, the more spice you'll have to consume to achieve this state once more. You can consume spice by making food items like spiced coffee or being exposed to spice fields. If you consume too much spice, then you could start seeing some weird hallucinations. In the combat example, you'll be able to see the enemies can actually use the same abilities as you can, like the melee people trying to knee charge you. They can also use shields and parry you back in return, so you'll have to make clean combat choices with strategy in each and every scenario, otherwise you might end up in a sticky situation. There was actually quite a lot of emphasis of strategy in the stream as they were playing through the combat section, so it was really interesting to see how they tackled different rooms in the dungeon. Moving forward, we have the Blood Door, a certain type of door that once you enter it, it will not let you back through it until you've cleared the room of enemies. In places like the deep desert, this could also include waves of enemies, not just a room of enemies. Here's a cool example of what the Assault Seeker in combat plays like.
Let's have a floating detonator. 3, 2, 1, click. Some damage. Floating bomb. Yeah. Oh, I missed time that. That was too far. Succeed float.
That's where you go.
Okay. No. Bad.
You may have seen several enemy types in this particular eco lab as well. The melee, which comes up close into your space and attacks you with melee weapons. The ranged fighter, which will shoot you with ranged weapons. The heavy, which has a minigun and shield. And the marksman, which is essentially a sniper. The heavies look like they'll be your biggest pain in the ass when it comes to these dungeons, so watch out for the big guys. Later on in the stream, we got to see a group example of an eco lab with other players in the deep desert. Because this area is PvP, it means the loot works differently. In PvE, everyone gets their separate loot and they all get loot from the same box. In PvP, only one person gets the loot from a box. So you have to share the loot out with your party members or do some betrayal later on. The enemies are a lot more advanced, a lot more health, they are faster, they will dodge and run away to heal. And of course, they can use abilities on you as well.
While it may not be obvious until you're actually playing these places, these NPCs are significantly stronger, they're faster, they are much more dangerous. However, some people might want to challenge themselves and come here by alone. Who knows?
This is one of my favorite. Like, I can tell that's a Swordmaster build because you saw the green effect, which is basically a passive of the Swordmaster archetype. If you kill someone, it will give you a buff for, I think the first level is 15% more damage for the next attack as well. After you kill
You see the Bene Gesserit, they stand apart because their effects are black or dark.
It's very distinct, so players can understand what's happening around them.
And now we're in Prescient state again. So see all the
That's what I can see in games. Let's see how well we do. Here we go. 1, 2. Ooh. Through the shield. Shield's broken. Almost broken.
He's gonna.
He's still focusing
nice.
on. Okay, nice.
That's a flamethrower heavy.
We've seen a knife earlier, and now we actually see a sword in action.
One of the big differences that Villa mentioned before is the gameplay stylization. Swords are an area of control weapon. They're a little bit slower than daggers, but daggers allow you to quickly attack and also lunge.
There's a few more weapon types shown off in the stream as well, like the sword, and there is a sniper rifle. The last bit of the combat showcase was a PvP betrayal scene. Let's view some of that PvP in game, because honestly I think it just has to play out because it looked really awesome.
A 2-on-2 player fight in a confined space is going to get messy. There's going to be colors on the screen, there's going to be effects going off. We will see if we can comment as best as we can to what's happening.
See, there's someone dead there already.
Oh, they took somebody down. That was very fast.
Is it 2 versus 1 now?
Stamina
Or
list.
is it? Yeah, 2 versus 1. Yeah. Oh, nice.
This is very nice.
Oh, someone went Prescient.
Managed to catch him.
Cheating! They're cheating.
No, I mean,
I would call it cheating. If someone goes Prescient and I can't, it's obviously cheating. Someone
I
has like...
believe somebody got betrayed.
looks like it.
Oh, and there's another. Oh, there's a second
Ooh,
betrayal.
That was a Bene Gesserit skill on a friend. That's like the ultimate betrayal. If you use a Bene Gesserit skill on your friend,
Yeah.
that is just the ultimate betrayal.
The question is, who is the better player?
This is an interesting fight.
This is very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
Oh, it's
Someone
getting
ran out of
staggered.
stamina.
No, yeah. It's 1v1
Oh.
now.
And
Oh,
then we saw the new whirlwind.
Yeah.
so that was them.
Sword is there. Oh, I believe. Oh, the count is back. Needs to be a little bit more ability use and a little bit better stamina management. Bank your stamina and deploy it in one big burst.
Actually, you don't see the stamina on the other player, even if you're Prescient, which is actually really. I think that's.
Oh, boom.
Oh, that's close. It almost got.
Server structure, guilds, parties, and permissions were covered in this section. Starting with server structure.
So Dune Awakening has a very unique, somewhat different server structure to the type of games you'd expect. If you're a survival player, you're probably used to one map, one server. But Dune Awakening has kind of a larger server structure on the back end. So we have what we call worlds. Worlds are made up of multiple servers, which we call internally sietches. So often when you join a sietch, you'll see here in this infographic that Hager Basin has this big stack of sietches. So when you sign up, you'll choose your world and then you'll join a sietch within that world. Each of those Hager Basin sietches contains maximum 40 players per map, but all of those maps add up to create the entire world. The Deep Desert, the social hubs like Harko Village and Arrakis, they are actually shared social spaces in the world, the Deep Desert being the big PvP area in the world. And of course, so we're talking about, we have this 5-day head start. I know people are concerned. The thing is, you'll be able to join worlds that we open during that head start. We will also open more worlds when the game launches, but you can also join a sietch in a world that isn't necessarily the same sietch as your friend, but you'll be able to go and visit your friend. You'll be able to do a lot of stuff with your friends. So it's kind of, you're not going to be locked out for the most part of any content when you join after the head start. Also, I would say get better friends and let them buy you the head start. That's another thing I think is a really good option.
That's the way to go.
No, you also said 40 players per max per server or siege. What happens if someone joins anyway? If there's
if more than 40 people try to join at one time, so it's concurrent users, so CCU, and that means that then they'll be put into a queue to wait to join. So we can have more characters on a server than 40. We can have several hundred, but that means people play at different times of day when people join, so there will be a queuing system in place to allow people to wait in line to get into the servers, of course.
Right.
With the friends system, you can add friends in-game. It will also share friends from your Steam list automatically. There is also a feature in-game that allows you to visit friends on different servers, kind of like server transfers. You click on their name, choose to visit your friend with the world icon, and it will teleport you to your friend's nearest trade post. So this could be on a different server entirely, so like a different Hager Basin. From there, you can party up and do everything with your mates. The only thing you can't do is put down base claims or build. For this to happen, your friend has to add you to the base permissions to enable you to build on their claimed area. However, you cannot claim your own area on that server, as there's some kind of capacity thing there. You can only do that on your own server that you came from, but that shouldn't be a problem as long as your friends put down some base claims for you and add you to the permissions. This type of situation is ideal for launch day, I'd say, as if the servers are quite full and your friends end up on different servers, you can still go and play with them. Just note, the server you picked is your home server. You're not moving there permanently, you will always have that home server. Parties are maxed up to 4 players at a time. Guilds are a max of 32 players, and people can be invited to a guild from different servers. Guilds can pledge allegiance to one of the 2 houses, being House Atreides and House Harkonnen. If your guild picks House Atreides and you're fully fledged Harkonnen, you will get booted out of your guild. On a positive note, you can switch to a different house in the playthrough, But you only get to do this once, so pick very carefully. There is also a permission system in Dune. You can adjust permissions on your sub-thief or separate equipment such as doors, stations, and vehicles. So if you wanted to let your friend use your ground car, you'd have to enable them to do so by putting them on the permissions list on your car's menu. If you wanted to make the doors of your base public to allow shelter, you can do that as well. If you wanted to restrict certain chests within your base claim just for yourself and set up separate main storage for your guild, you can do that as well. The permissions are in depth and are really customizable and should really help when it comes to maybe inviting someone you don't really know into your base or guild, and give you that extra measure of security, making sure you don't feel like you're going to get absolutely cleaned out by someone randomly by just enabling them to join your clan. We also got to see the server map for launch day for Dune Awakening. There will be servers provided in these regions for the best ping, so you'll know what region to go to in advance. I'm going to let these play out, so here is the Q&A section.
If you already align to one house, can you later change it to align with the same house as the guild is?
Yeah, you can. You can betray your house.
But only once.
Once. Can you progress far without PvP, or is this game mainly going to be around PvP?
So you can play in the survival area, the survival game map that we have, which is 8 by 8 kilometers, and you don't have to PvP at all in that. Now going to the deep desert, you don't have to PvP. It's just that you run the risk of PvP. And as what I talked about earlier is that we have all these tools where you can quickly get away. So the goal was that people who don't want to PvP may still go there for the loot, but be on the lookout for enemies coming, and then just drive away really fast, or you using your ornithopter as you would to get away, or if you get jumped, use your abilities to get away.
Unpaid Taxi asks, is the slow blade automatic?
So we have two main attacks for the blade, like the basic ones, if you don't have any skills or abilities associated with it. So we have the quick attack, and then we call it the stab, even though it's with swords and everything you can do the slow blade there. So you can do the quick attack, which is effective to stagger enemies, so you get time to actually deliver the slow blade. The slow blade is automatic in the sense that it will trigger if you do a stab, so to speak. I guess
basically it's a special. You do it as a special attack, so it's a special like you hold your mouse button basically longer. You just click it, so it is a special trigger, and then the animation will play itself out. But it doesn't automatically happen. You have to trigger it. Do you lose more durability on melee weapons than range to offset ammunition use of ranged weapons? That's a good question.
That's extremely detailed. I don't have the answer for that. And as we balance things, that might go up and down. I don't have the exact numbers.
The numbers.
I don't think it's a major concern, at least the difference, right?
No. I'm always fairly cheap, so you will loot some of it, and the rest you will just pull out your cut array, harvest a couple of scrap metal piles, and then you have plenty so that you can quickly craft them on your person.
And can I swap active skills during combat?
So you can swap your skills. However, if they're on a cooldown, you'll not be allowed to swap them.
And can you learn all skills available in the game? So Master Trooper, so on.
You cannot actually. You can go pretty far down in several of them, or you can go to the end of a few of them, but you won't be able to get all the skills from all the trees.
Will NPCs pick targets based on threats, closest player, or use tactics?
So they're like, with these things, there's always a combination, and you weight things. So it's like, well, someone might have a higher threat at a longer distance. Who do you deal with? So we have weighted this, so it's like it should feel natural the way that it works. But again, I don't have the exact numbers for how that's balanced.
Will Sardaukars be killable, or are they meant to be the ultimate enemy?
So we have the Sardaukar dropships, but Chom mercenaries drop from them. So you will kill them, but they are not proper Sardaukar.
You're just not important enough early on, specifically,
exactly.
that they would deal with you.
Yeah.
They're just sent there.
If you kill Sardaukar, that would be part of. It's not the normal approach.
Don't spoil anything.
Yeah, exactly. You won't.
Maybe you'll have to find out. Are there any hunter seekers in the game to use?
Indeed, they are the last ability in one of the trees.
Yes,
I could
we
tell
actually-
you which tree, but I'm not going to.
No. Can you extract blood from enemies like they do in the movies?
Yes, you can indeed. It's you will be doing that a lot as you build your base, and you refine blood to actually use as water for things that you craft and also for hydration. You can even drink
Improved.
blood.
Yes.
It will hydrate you, but there are some side effects.
Yeah, it's not super advised, but you can go on. You can also, what I personally hate, you can also use Muad'Dibs and drink a little bit
This
of
is
blood.
true.
Tiny bit.
You can harvest the Muad'Dibs as
Still
well.
hate
You
it.
do what
Not
you have to
okay.
do.
Not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. Just putting it out there right now. Can you attack players of your same faction?
Yes, you can. So what I think I mentioned earlier is that in a group, you won't do damage much to your friends in your group, but the people in your guild who may be attached to a faction, you can damage them when you're in the PvP area.
And that's a wrap for the entire Streamlight highlights for Dune Awakening. If you enjoyed today's video, smash a like on it and subscribe for more Dune Awakening news and content. The stream was awesome insight to some more combat aspects about the game. If you'd like to see the full stream in full, check the link in the description down below as it will be there. Either way, thank you for watching, I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!